Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review. In this installment of the DeAgostini Volkswagen T1 Samba bus, I'll be working on pack number 9, which consists of stages 38 through 42. This time I'll assemble some more components of the interior, and I'm very excited about this, get to start working on the engine. So with that, if you haven't done so already, head over to DeAgostini and subscribe to this today. You can start all the way from pack 1. I put a direct link and a promo code down below in the description. So let's get started. Welcome back. Before I get into reviewing pack 9 and what we're going to be doing for this pack, just show you the interior of what I've completed all the way up to pack 8. And we have all the seats installed and it looks fantastic. Of course, we've already completed the front end of the bus, a couple of wheels and tires, and a couple of the doors. So with that, let's go ahead and get started on pack 9. Pack 9, we received stages 38 through 42. So for example, the magazine for stage 38 comprises of about 12 to 13 pages. Wonderful photographs, great articles comprised here. A lot of research was done by DeAgostini for this magazine, so they do give you a brief history of everything here, and right away we get articles about the engine, and that's what I'm excited about this pack, is we get started on the engine. I've been waiting to do that for a long time. I know the Volkswagen engine very well. I've done a lot of work on them with my own Volkswagen, my 72 Volkswagen Beetle, so I'm looking forward to building this engine. A wonderful article there. And then we start off with front seats, carpet, pedals, and levers. Put in some of the wiring for that too. A lot going on here, so hopefully I can show you in detail how this is done. And got a lot going on with stage 38. So stage 39, we'll go over the build instructions, but I won't show you the rest of the magazine. You have to subscribe to this yourself to get all the articles and all the features for this. You know, I don't want to ruin it for you, so when you actually get the magazine, you're excited to read it and you'll have it in front of you when you do your builds. So with that, let's look at the parts we received with pack 9. So this is parts pack 38, and like I was saying, that was the front carpet and a bunch of the levers and pedals, some wiring for the switches. Stage 39, we got the tire. It's our third tire. Stage 40, we also get the wheel, the rim for that tire. And stage 41 is the beginning of the engine build. Looks like we get the block and the push rod tubes. And stage 42, more of the engine parts and some of the ductwork for the heating and cooling. So without further ado, let's get started on stage 38. Also in pack 9, I received a free gift. Now your gift could vary, so make sure you head over to DeAgostini Collectibles yourself and see what they're offering for gifts when you sign this up. So it could be different for you than what I actually received with this stage. But I thought I'd go ahead and show it to you. Take it out of its case. Wonderful. It's a 1973 T2 Volkswagen. And I think it's great. So let me take this out here real quick. 1/43 scale, which by the way, I am showing you all the 1/43 American Cars collection, and I'll put a link down below for that. But that's a wonderful collection. I've been receiving a lot of fantastic cars, muscle cars in that collection from the American Cars collection. So, you know, if you are into collecting die casts like I am, the 1/43 scale is wonderful, and this is great here too. I love the two-tone finish on it. Very common color back in the day for this Volkswagen, and this is the T2 from 1973. Of course, my Beetle's in 1972, so this is great. All right, so let's get rolling with pack 9. Let's go ahead and look at the build instructions for 38 once again. And you can see here we received the front seats, carpet, pedals, and levers, and these are all the parts that are included with that. And plus we have that wonderful diagram. And this, so far, this is the only magazine that offers that diagram. I think it's pretty cool. It shows us all the steps we're going to be doing in this stage. So you can see here we start by installing the front carpet, the rubber carpet up front, and then we put in the throttle pedal, and we want that pedal to move, so there's a pin that goes in, and I'll show you how that's done. Next we put in the brake pedal, much the same way. There's another pin that goes into it to install it. You can see it there. And the clutch pedal, right? So standard transmission with this. You always have a clutch and gear shift lever on this. They are super fun to drive. I love my Volkswagen. And then the rest of the parts we're going to hold back a little bit. I think we're going to install that in the next stage. But that's what it will look like when we're done with this stage. Let me go ahead and get the parts out. We'll get a close look at them and then we'll get started. And here's parts pack 38 for stage 38. Let me take these out and we'll get a closer look. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Here's a close-up of those parts. I'm going to show you a close-up of the smaller parts here in a second. But here's the carpet or the mat for the front, made out of rubber, BPO 8 and BPO 6 screws. We have the 01 wire, which is your throttle switch wire, and your 02 wire, which is the brake switch wire. And here's a close-up of those parts. First off, this is the gear shift lever right here. And this would be the starter knob, the heating knob, and then the heater controller knob, which is the larger one. We also received the parking brake handle, the throttle pedal, clutch pedal, and the brake pedal. These are the pins that will allow those to rotate and the backing plates for those. First step we do is we install the mat here, and that simply just goes down. There's some pins here that hold it in place on the end there, and a couple on the front. Next we take the throttle pedal, and it's going to go in right here. And the pedal is installed. You can kind of see how it is right there. We're going to go ahead and put our pin in. Now our pin, you can see it has some serrations on one end, so that will help it stay in place, lock it in. Line up the hole, and there you go, pushed in place. Throttle pedal is in place now. Next I put in the brake pedal, and that's going to go in right here. Turn it over once again. And line it up. There we go. And squeeze it in place. And there it goes. And there's our brake pedal. Okay. Next we install the clutch pedal. and that just press fits in place just like that. And there's all 3 of your pedals, and that's all we do with stage 38. And we'll put the other parts aside until we're ready to install those. Let's go ahead and get started on stage 39. Let's look at the build instructions for stage 39. Stage 39, we received one of the tires, but the diagram shows us we're going to be doing some installation of the wiring, the switches for the throttle and the brake, and gathering those parts from stage 38, the 2 wire looms, the switches, the brake and throttle, and gives us a close-up of what that looks like, how they're numbered, and we're going to install them where they need to go. Simply going to insert down into the panel there. Once they are inside the panel, go ahead and install the covers, put the screws in. That's what the cover looks like. We'll install the screw on the last cover and tape off the wires out of the way. Should look like that. So let me get the parts and I'll be right back. So with stage 39, they gave us another tire. It's a 3rd tire. Let me take this out. We'll get a closer look. Here's that tire. Continental tire. 6.40 by 15. Very nice tread pattern on there. And very nice. So let's go ahead and get started on stage 39. So for stage 39, we're going to install these 2 switches, the number 1 switch and the number 2 switch. And they are going to go underneath where we just put our brake pedal and throttle pedal. I'm going to bring over the car. We're going to put in the throttle one first, which is this right here, throttle pedal. So I'll turn it over, and that would be this right here. Wire marked number 1, 01, is going to get inserted into that, just like that. For these switches, and one is longer than the other, so the longer one is for the throttle, the shorter one is for the brake. So we're going to put that over the top, just like that, to hold that switch in place. 2 BP08 switches go into this. And not too tight, but that should be good. Test out the switch, and you can hear it. Very good. Next we'll put in the brake pedal switch, and that's wire number 2, and that's going to go in just like the other one, pretty much right into that position. And this time we'll put the cover on it. It has a rounded side and an open side. The open side goes towards the inward side here, just like that. 2 FP08 screws go into this. That's good there. And lastly, they just want us to secure the wiring on the back with some tape. And there you go, they're all taped up, and that's how the wiring should go. So that's all we do for stage 39. Let's get started on stage 40. Let's look at the build instructions for stage 40. So for stage 40, we received the spare wheel, and we're going to install all the parts that we received from stage 38 according to the diagram. That's what that's showing us. First thing we're going to install are some of the starter knob, heating knobs, heating controller, the gear shift lever, and lastly the parking brake. And that's what it should look like when we're done. Let me get the parts for stage 40 and I'll be right back. Here's the parts pack for stage 40, and that would be the wheel, the third wheel we received. Let me take this out, we'll get a closer look. And here's that wheel. Very nice. They represent the lug nuts very well here. The wheel weight for balancing of the wheel, the valve stem, and that's what that looks like. So I'll put that aside with the tire that we received, because I'm sure we're going to be assembling that here in a little bit. First we're going to install the starter knob, and that's this right here. It has more of a rounder end on it than the heater knob. The heater knob goes in beside it, but it's more flat on top. So there is a difference between those two. And then the heater controller. So the starter knob goes in right here. So I put the starter knob in first. It's a little bit larger than the heater knob, and it goes in straight down. Press it down, and then heater knob goes in beside it, straight down. That looks good. And then the heater control knob, which is the larger one, goes in over here. And there you go. If you wanted to put some super glue on the back side, it probably wouldn't hurt at all. But that's what they look like there. Now we put in the gear shift lever, and it does have like a half moon shape, so it only goes in one way. There we go. Then we put an FP06 screw into this on the back side. And that should hold it in place. That's what that looks like there. Next, the parking brake goes in place. And you want it to kind of go in that kind of a direction right there. Like that. And it press fits. Just like that. That's how that looks there. Very good. That's all we do for stage 40. Let's head over and do stage 41. Let's look at the build instructions for stage 41. So for stage 41, we receive the parts for the crankcase, and we assemble the spare wheel. So there's a diagram for that. And so basically we're going to insert the wheel and tire together. We need to heat up that tire in some boiling water, so I'll do that, and I'll bring it back up and we'll get that fully assembled. Then we go ahead and make sure it's perfectly round, that it's on the wheel all the way. We'll take our driver's seat, push it forward, raise it up, and insert the spare wheel into the interior. And that's what it looks like when we're all done. Let me get the parts and I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 41, and these are those crankcase parts. Very nice there. Take them out, we'll get a closer look. And here's a close-up of those parts. We have the two halves of the crankcase. I love it because it really shows what the bottom of the crankcase looks like with all the cooling fins on the bottom. That would be where your oil sump is on the bottom of the engine, and along with your push rod tubes, 8 of them total, the rear of the crankcase, and then BPO6 screws. All the parts here are plastic. Let's get started. Okay, I heated up the tire in boiling water for a couple minutes. Nice and hot, very pliable, and we'll insert the wheel on it. Just like that. Roll it back and forth just to make sure everything comes together on that, and that's how that looks. I'll let that cool off a bit, and then we'll insert it into the interior of the car behind the driver's seat there. Be right back. Next, we install the spare wheel behind the driver's seats, and the instructions tell us to make sure you slide the driver's seat forward, which I did already, and we just move that seat tilt it up and slide it in where the front of the wheel is facing forward, and it's just going to slide in just like that, and there you go. That's how that looks. That completes stage 41, so let's head over and do the final stage for pack 9, stage 42. Let's look at the build instructions for stage 42, the final stage for pack 9. And once again, we received more parts for the engine, assembly for parts 1. And there's the extra parts we received. Remember, we received the first bit of parts in pack 41, and now we received these parts. So we're going to assemble those parts from pack 41 in this stage. So there they are, the engine case, push rod tubes, the rear of the case, and that's how it all goes together there. Press fit it together, put in 2 BPO6 screws, then we insert the push rod tubes, and that's how the push rod tubes look. That's as far as we go with assembling the engine. Let me get the parts and I'll be right back. Here's the parts pack for stage 42. I'll take these out and get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts, and these are the cylinder heads here, which will actually go like that underneath the engine. Left rear cooling fin, right rear cooling fin. Very nice there, made of plastic. Left exhaust pipe, right exhaust pipe. Valve cover clips, BPO6 and BPO8 screws. And I'm going to go ahead and take all these parts and put them away because we don't assemble them in this stage. So they'll be in safekeeping. Now here comes the fun part. Get to finally assemble the engine. The crankcase halves will go together, but before we put them together here, we need to put the end cap on, and that slides in on that pin right there, just like that. And then we'll mesh these together, and 2 BPO8 screws will hold this together. Here's one, and last one, number 2. That looks good there, and that's how that looks. Next, the push rod tubes go in, and I want to make sure that this part here is facing upwards, and they're just going to snap in place, just like that. Go. There's one set. We'll do the other side. And that's it. That's all we do for stage 42. I'll be right back. And that's all we do for pack 9. We installed the floor panel with your gas pedals and shifter knob, the spare tire, and we started assembling the engine. That was fantastic. If you haven't done so already, head over to DeAgostini Collections and subscribe to this bus today. It's a fantastic build and I'm having a blast doing it. So we're coming up on pack number 10 and I look forward to that. That means we're going to be almost halfway done with this. If you like my content, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. With that, happy modeling everybody and take care.